Hey, what's up, guys? Um, just wanted to share some things with you today. Figured I could show you some more of our evidence. Um, so, just to kind of jump right in here, this is a photo that was clipped from one of our videos way back in, the end of July or August, I believe. We call this area Rolling Hills. And we were getting quite a lot of activity there. And on this particular occasion, um, we got some rock clacking back from this location where this possible Sasquatch was videoed. We actually didn't see this. A friend of ours, we give credit to, Brian Hansen, he actually found it in the video, pointed out to us, cleared up the photo, and is sharing this with us now. You can kind of see a log there, and then off to the base of that tree, which this distance is roughly 80 yards up a hill from our location. It was cleared up and the picture was cleaned up, so it kind of looks a little funny, but in essence, you can get the gist of what it looks like at the base of that tree. And it was intriguing because we have this theory that a lot of the times they're not up roaming the woods, walking around while we're out there looking for 9-foot apes or paranormal. But if they are in the physical sense, I believe that they stay low, which is strategic. Um, Things of that nature. If you're staying low, you can stay hidden. And it looked like it was peeking at us. Um, so we really can't tell if it is or it isn't, but it was an intriguing photo that I figured I'd share with you guys. Now, here's another clip from one of our videos. You really can't see much. It's really garbled also, but it was roughly 2.5 miles into the woods. Um, it was in a ravine taken with a backpack cam, and you could kind of see the outline of a face in the middle of the screen. Um, you can't. It's hard to see. So what I want to say here is it a possible yes? Is it could it be anything? It could be. But it's got the structure of looking like a Sasquatch. Like I said, everything in the woods is not Sasquatch. You need to remember that. Um, but now, since I'm moving off of the flesh and blood a little bit to more paranormal because of what I witnessed, I have to. Uh, Everybody says be open minded, but actually, I need to be a little bit more closed minded and focused right now at figuring out what aspects I need to pay attention to, if that makes any sense. What I'm trying to say is, I can't leave pieces of the puzzle on the table. A lot of people are either one side or the other, paranormal or not, and I feel they're missing parts of the whole story here. Uh, the way I look at it is the certain parts of paranormal that happen, there's certain parts of flesh and blood that happen. So who are we to choose? We don't make that determination. So we have to start paying attention and using and utilizing everything that they give to us, whether it's in their physical sense or metaphysical sense, essentially the paranormal. Um, and you have to grasp and take from each section. You can't be the one to choose. You don't have that right. You have to learn all the way around. Um, so when people want to negate some of the things that you're saying, you just take it with a grain of salt and keep on moving. Because if you're focused on your research, you know what you're doing. Um, I'm starting to lean a lot more in the metaphysical sense now after what I've seen. I mean, I just can't jump fully there because I've seen them in both states. Um, when you see something that looks flesh and blood and then you see what it does when it disappears, it's hard to wrap your head around it. So I feel I have to grab from both camps of my research. I have to. Um, if not, I'll be missing parts of the puzzle. Or maybe it's the way they trickle down the information to us slowly. It's almost like we're spoon fed. Maybe they're letting us see them or experience them they don't give us the full paranormal right off the bat. It's like we're led up to that, if that makes any sense. But not to jump ahead, this photo is from another backpack cam outing, and right there on the left-hand side of this tree, uh, well, right there on the left-hand side of that tree, you can see what looks like a Sasquatch. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it is. It's black, doesn't match its surroundings, and it actually moves in the video. You can see its left arm kind of looks like it throws something. Now, mind you, we were walking. He didn't see it. This is on a backpack cam. The left arm moves, looks like it throws something. And as we go up the ravine, I'm actually farther away from this person, but as he goes up the ravine, um, it looks like uh, this Sasquatch turns and walks away. There's also some other black things. If you take a good look back there, is it plausible? I don't know, but this one moved, so we knew it wasn't the tree. It didn't fit the bill, and it looks, like it just doesn't fit there. So when we seen it moving and everything happening, um, you can see what I'm saying. And this is a photo that was captured um, around 75 or 80 or relative distance away. Um, we believe it to be a peaker because when we went back to investigate that black section on the top there, I know it's a little blurry. It's blurry because we were moving. Didn't see it at the time, but when we checked the photos, we were able to establish something was there. So we don't know what it is, but we just wanted to share it. So this next one, in the other video, my last video I shared, I told you I had some apples that disappeared and ended up in a tree. I hate to draw arrows and I don't like circles, but I'm doing this for reference so I don't get everybody asking me, hey, where are you talking about? So, if you do take a look, there is an apple right there. Now, what was intriguing about this is look how high that is. Okay, so everybody would say, oh, a squirrel did it or a bird did it. Well, the only way it gets up there is if they use claws, teeth, something of that nature to get it up in the tree. Well, when we got that apple down, there was not one mark on it. It looks like it was placed there with a hand, which was um, quite amazing. Could a Sasquatch do it? Sure, why not? Could another animal do it? It's possible, it's plausible, but you would think you would see handprints or claw prints or teeth marks from carrying it up the tree, and we just didn't see that, but it's definitely intriguing. And so this photo is the original photo that I shared with you the other day, saying that we caught some type of something, possibly look like a being. And if you look kind of dead center off to the right, you see the light coming from the ground. Now this isn't pareidolia. It's just not. We've seen this with our own eyes. There's yellows um, and purples. You see that even at any distance. If it was pareidolia, I would be seeing it right up close here or stuff like that. No, it's specific to that one area back there. And as you look back there, you can see it. I hope that you're able to see that. But that was the original. We didn't see it at the time. It's roughly 80 yards, something like that. Um, but like I said, we didn't want to come out and talk paranormal back then. But now I'm kind of forced to because I'm staying true to my research. Okay, so this photo is a photo that we got from our second location that I call the hill, and I don't really know what it is. It was at a far distance. I had the Canon. No, I had the Nikon that day. I had the Nikon camera. It's a 20 megapixel camera. I had it, zoomed almost all the way in, and it looked like something was walking up the ridge. And then when I got a picture of it, I mean, it doesn't really look like a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, but a few people have said it looks like an alien. It's really weird. You can see it right there in the middle of the screen. Um, it's just something interesting. So I like to share everything with you guys. Some of the paranormal, some of the cryptid, a little bit of everything. And this photo was one of the photos of hot debate uh, that I got in a lot of heated conversations with people over. We had left the trail camera up for about 2 or 3 months, and this was the photo that we got. There was others besides this one, and somebody tried to say it was a skier and this and that, but the other photos showed it coming actually out of the woods. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom that right in there, and you can see the length of that arm. To me, if you think it was a skier, I can't see that. It looks like it's coming out of the woods toward the trail that's there. It has the same cone-shaped head. Is it blurry? Yeah, of course it's blurry. It was a trail cam, roughly 75 yards away. Um, but you get the gist of the arm wrapped around the back of that tree. It looks like. So is it? We believe so, but we just like to share with you guys so you can see. And this was an intriguing photo. I found this on a ridge, and it looks like a really big footprint. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite that large. I'm a 13. This would have been like a 21 inch that I measured. But it almost looks like it would have, they state, people state, well, is the thumb opposable or non opposable? Well, if you look at kind of to the left side, I'm going to zoom in over in here, it would look like a digit maybe uh, offset. It kind of looked funny to us when we seen that. And it was just, it was very, it was a curious print. There was only one. I thought maybe turkey scratchings. I didn't see it. I thought deer. I didn't see no prints. It wasn't big enough really for an animal to lay because it would have to be two animals. The way there's like a rift, and if you look across the middle of the print where they talk about like a mid-tarsal break or ridge or a flexation, you can almost see that the leaves are built up kind of maybe the way the foot fell or landed, and up toward the front it actually looks like there was toes or claws of some sort. Um, but like I said, it's a relative big impression. I'm a 13. I have a wide foot for a guy, and this is insane. If this is a Sasquatch print, and this location was actually at the hill. Um, that it's actually our second location. Uh, this is a highly debated photo. Also, off to the left, you see something by that tree. It looks black, like it's bending over. The eye looks like it's got eye shine. Leaves, as you can see in the photo, usually don't show eye shine. So anybody that tried to say it was part of the tree, it wasn't. I'll try to show you the original photo or something close to it here. Here it is highlighted in yellow. As you can see, that tree right there is a half a tree. It's roughly 6 foot, and we had some stuff laid out there in the front, and it looked like the Sasquatch was coming in to take a look or grab it, and there was a raccoon walking back at the same time, and it looks like it stood up. You could see the eye shine clearly. That's not part of the trees or the background, because it wasn't there prior. And in the original video, I do share a breakdown on the page way back of a video where you can see it moving. It's behind the log and then it's there. Um, so like I said, everything we get, we try to be relative. Everything is not Sasquatch in the woods. Uh, you wouldn't believe the amount of time we spend going through hours of audio, thousands of photos, hundreds of videos. Just the time that you spend out there to become one with nature, you're learning. You're learning about everything. If the paranormal is involved in this, which from what I've seen, has to be. So I encourage you guys to be open minded in the sense, uh, stop causing the divide, stop causing the rift. If you're strictly woo or strictly flesh and blood, start paying attention. I understand there's some crazies out there. Everybody wants to call people crazy. But look at it as beneficial for your research. That if you can take certain things from either one and put it with your research and say, hey, that could make sense. You got to start wrapping your head around the whole puzzle. And the things that I try to tell people are, if you're missing these pieces, everybody thinks they know what it is. Everybody thinks they know the truth, right? Well, if you're lacking these certain key pieces, and it may be from the flesh and blood or from the whatever factor, we don't know what it is. We created these groups. We need to remove ourselves a little bit, like I said before, because it's just gotten ridiculous. We should not be making these choices. We have to leave a lot of our beliefs out of this and just take what they're telling us. See, the problem is that let's say somebody experiences this and then they go tell people, well, that's their experience and a lot of people are experiencing it, but um, then they try to teach that, and when they teach that, we're getting their aspect, we're getting what they perceived, which might not always be the case because we're still learning. And from the other day when I shared the video, here is a clear photo of the one where you could see more of a ridge in the face and the hair. You can clearly see that's hair. Um, this here, I believe 100% is a physical, well, if you want to call it manifestation or whatever, of a Sasquatch. That this is what this is. This here is the Sasquatch Yeti and Other Wild Men of the World. It's a piece, it's a field guide by Dr. Meldrum. I encourage you to pick it up. It's just another piece to your puzzle. If you can continue to learn about things all over the world, add it to your collection. What we should be doing is adding things to our collection on a global scale or nationwide scale. It doesn't matter who you are and what you study. If it's, if we're talking about Bigfoot, uh, people that are flesh and blood and woo should all be talking, sharing their puzzle pieces, because once you step back and look at the nation and you take a look at where the sightings have been and how they got there, if we can start figuring out the travel routes, as I said before, um, maybe if they are, I don't like to say cloaking, but I say manifesting, because dematerializing is basically what I seen. And if they're jumping, let's say they're using a portal or they're able to jump, maybe they are jumping to these locations, one to the next, and that's why there's these hotbeds all over the U.S. Is that possible? Why couldn't it be? I still believe in science. I'm still rational. I'm still logical. But it doesn't hurt for me. I don't have anything to lose or gain by not looking into that. So I have to look into both aspects. But either way, this is a good piece that can just teach you a little something about different types all over the world. And there's also on the back, it's got like a ruler for the field, and it's laminated, so you could have it right in the field with you. I'll just show you this page. It's just a quick breakdown of the North American wild man, the Sasquatch. Some of the footprints, because he is AKA a track expert, um, because of his extensive research. In our area 3, here's another pile of sticks that we had located, and you can see, I mean, it's quite amazing to be stacked like that. We're still trying to figure out why they're doing it. I don't like to share misguided thoughts. A lot of people are out there trying to teach you or say that Sasquatch can do this and do that and do this and do that. Um, I feel like I can't do that. I have to be a little vague, but at the same time try to explain some things uh, based on what has happened to me. Um, but if I don't clearly have the picture, how can I properly teach? This photo was also taken nearby with it, your classic tree bend. Um, and there's also a smaller tree break to the back left side there. Um, that takes a lot of strength to do something like that, guys. It really does. I urge you to go find a sapling that's 6, 7 inches around, 8 inches around, and take, you and two of your best buddies and go out there and climb up and try to pull her down. A lot of times it would take a truck to pull something like that out and get it to bend, or an ATV or something. Uh, it takes a lot of strength. So I can't see wind, snow load, and rot doing that. On occasion, yes, it can happen. A tree can fall, hit another tree, take it with it. A lot of times, that whole fast action, though, uh, it'll slide off the tree, and that original tree uh, in this bend, let's say, would pop right back up, um, like the inertia. But uh, just be relative to, like I said, take it all in. Use all the puzzle pieces before you try to make a determination. Here was part. I think this. It's not the original. It's a zoomed in, but the one I showed you earlier, you can clearly see something to the left. Looks like fur, eye shine. Um, it's very interesting. We believe it to be a Sasquatch bending, walking from left to right, bending down, trying to grab something. But um, it could possibly be anything. But I just feel the need to share it with you. Like I said, it's part of the research. Uh, this could be a possible footprint. It was in a muddy, mossy location. The only reason I took it is because the way it looked, and it kind of looked off to the left there, looked like it was a toe or uh, a digit that was displaced to the side, or maybe it slid or something like that because of the mud. But I wanted to show that, and I used my glove for reference. I think this one was only like 9 or 10 inches. In this photo, sorry about the background noise going on there. Um, these are some of castings that we've done through our research, and kind of what I wanted to show. Sorry that it's on my table, but it was just a photo we took once we got home. A lot of long hours, a lot of time spent out there, you guys. But you can almost see there's that arch or flexation in this front print here. It's got the wider, broad heel where it tapers down toward the toe area. It wasn't the best. It was just regular plaster. I don't like regular plaster. I use hydrocal now. It's much better. Gives more detail. Dental stone's probably the best, but it's the most expensive. But here we have, it almost looks like your standard flexation that everybody talks about in that break. That print right there was 15 and a half inches. Now, in this photo, a lot of people talk about, well, it's wind, snow, rain that breaks branches. Well, yes, it does. And this is kind of what it looks like. When a branch gets snapped off, or from regular wind, snow, whatever it may be, that's usually how they look. They don't look twisted, they don't look bent in certain directions. um, there's a difference. Once you start doing the research and you can pay attention to the differences, you'll be farther ahead. I'm not trying to knock anybody. Everybody has their own beliefs. I completely understand that. uh, but but if you are researching, start to pay attention to these things. So I'm going to show you this little clip of the video. This was some of our earliest attempts at making plaster casts over close to 5 years ago. Uh, Still learning. We had really no idea what we were doing. The substrate is really difficult to get tracks in New York, so when you find them, we like to cast them just to have them. And this grass here made it really difficult. They weren't fully in the mud, but the impressions were deep. So I'll go through this, and then at the end of the video, I'll share some things. Now, if you see that print right there, I paused this. Um, it looks like it's two-toed. Okay, so we started noticing, um, how do I say this? Like deformities or something like that. we ended up seeing this two-toed print on multiple occasions. So it wasn't just something that was the ground or whatever. And finally, I ended up pulling the cast on this, and it looked terrible. Like I said, it was some of our first attempts, but don't be scared. Try it. Yeah, if you don't learn or try, you're not going to get good at it. Uh, so repeat it over and over and over. Practice on yourself, even. But when you practice on yourself, it's not like being in the field because the substrate is always going to be different. But I tell people you have to look for deformities, malformations in the feet. Uh, this intrigued us. And as you can see, this is what it ended up looking like. Very terrible. Um, but we learned because of the substrate and the way that things are done and the proper way to do things. But you could still see it was kind of like the two-toed thing. Really has no definition to it. Like I said, we weren't good at it back then. But after practice and doing multiples, we learned quite a bit. But always look for malformations in the feet because that can have a lot more answers. I'll put it like that in your research. You can start paying attention to certain things. On a good note, I wanted to share this with you guys. I've seen Bigfoot. It's a DVD about some researchers and people in our area, Chautauqua County, uh, kind of like northeastern New York, or northwestern New York, sorry, um, southwestern New York, and even into Pennsylvania. Um, it has some good information in it. A lot of good people, like Bob Gimlin and Steve Culls, shared their input on this in this video. It was done by Peter Weimer out of my home county, Chautauqua County. If you get a chance, I would definitely go ahead and pick that up. Uh, it's a good watch. I shared some of my early research information in it, and I'm actually on the back cover, which is kind of cool. Um, so you can go to I've Seen Bigfoot, and I'm sure Peter has it listed how you can go ahead and purchase it if you haven't. So this is a picture I just wanted to share with you off my laptop here, um, which looks to be like a hog, pig, and it's intriguing because I got to share this with our local DEC because technically they're not listed as being in Western New York, and obviously they are, and this is a fairly big one. Um, so they were intrigued to find out about it. And then here's where you can see it turns its back to the side or something along those lines. Um, but you can definitely tell it's a pig. Now this print is a print that we found in not even a location where we were looking. We believe that they kind of head south when it gets wintertime. A lot more hunters. They like to hit the Appalachians. I believe the mountains are more vast, the Ohio River valleys, where they can't be found. Um, or they just spend more time. But this is a decent print. It didn't look like a bear print to me. If it was a bear print, I'd feel that it would have claws. You would see the claws when it walked. So when I found this on a creek bottom, it was interesting, and I'll share the next one with you. Okay, so here it is. I'm not fully all the way to the back, so I'm going to say it's about 10 inches. Um, that would be big for a bear, especially in my area. So I'm thinking it's some type of juvenile or something like that. But this was right along the muddy bank, but it was going up, so there was only one. So at least you could see that. And let's go to the next one. And last but not least, here was me sharing some of my information at the Chautauqua Lake Bigfoot Expo. Um, Sibylla Irwin was there sharing a lot of her information. Steve Culls sharing a lot of his information. If you get a chance next year, come on out. It's great. Contact Peter Weimer. They're trying to grow the event. It's a very good time. People come from Ohio and all over. There might be 100 people that come, something like that. Uh, but this area hasn't been um, fully researched. We're like one of the only research groups out here that I know of. And since that has happened, I've had such an influx of calls from people all over Western New York, Gowanda, Forestville, Arkwright, Cherry Creek, Jamestown, Binghamton. I mean, it's up Route 17. So many people have seen them, had experiences, had encounters, had all kinds of things happen. So I'm kind of glad that we started researching and sharing our videos. It helps people understand that they're not crazy, that what they've witnessed is real. It's out there. Like I said, I try to be rational, sane. There are some insane things that do happen to us researchers, and a lot of them are scared to talk about it. Why? Well, they've either got an agenda or they don't want to be deemed whatever by their peers. They just want to be well respected, and maybe at the end of their careers when they start talking about it, because then they don't have anything to lose or they don't care. But I feel that that's not appropriate. I think you have to be true to your research and understand where you want to go with it. Um, if you're I recently spoke with somebody. I'll use this for an example. He says I talked to the guy and he was telling me how he had paranormal things happen after being in the woods, seeing a Sasquatch, and people say they follow you home if you're following this paranormal world. And he tells the guy, this has happened in my home. Well, when the guy gets on stage and asks this gentleman, hey, did this happen to you? The guy said no. Um, and the guy was taken back for a second and says to himself, well, he had just told me that it did. Some people just don't want others to know, um, for fear of ridicule. But for what? Well, what are they gonna just? What are they gonna say to you? Is it gonna hurt your feelings? Yeah, maybe. I guess it could. But what happens if you explain yourself and something good comes of it and you start getting more and more in your research and able to share more? But then what happens if something happened and you didn't share it and you're like, see, I should have shared that and told people because now this happened, and it kind of screws up your own research. So you have to stay ethical, stay grounded, um, try to wrap your head around everything because it can be very overwhelming. And I think the best way to do it is a little at a time. Um, you know, pay attention to the people that, whenever you talk about Bigfoot, they kind of shun away from it. They don't badmouth you, but they just kind of ease away from it because a lot of times those are the people that have had a lot of experiences and are scared to talk about it. The people that bash you are the people that either are ill informed, that don't know, that don't research, or they just want to either find it themselves because they think they're right or they want to disprove the whole thing. It's out there, it's real. It doesn't matter what they have to say about you. If you just continue on your same path, eventually maybe you'll enlighten them. Maybe you'll get a piece of evidence that they'll see and they can't refute. Maybe you'll get DNA. Maybe you'll get it on video. I would have the holy grail right now if I would have caught it from physical to, let's call it metaphysical, when it poof and I see the blue light like I shared with you in the one video. Um, if I would have that, that would be the holy grail right now, and that was my own mistake because a lot of researchers think they go in the woods and they have these cameras and they're ready and they can catch anything, and it just doesn't happen that way. It's always when you least expect it, or when you're caught up doing something else. It's almost like they do these things to you. You'll be caught up looking at a tree break. You'll be caught up looking at prints. You'll be all getting hypered up because you've got sounds or whatever's going on, and then bam, that's when you have the sighting because you weren't expecting it because you were preoccupied in essence. Um, so there's a lot of things to start taking in if you are going to really start researching. Um, a lot of people call me frightened for their life sometimes. I've had people call and say that they're possibly trying to break in their house. Some stories are crazy. You'll get people say, well, they were on my roof. Things like that. You got to just overlook it. maybe hear the story out, maybe see if there's any tidbits of information. But once you've been doing this long enough, you can tell who is true and who is not. If you've got a researcher that you're watching that continuously goes in the woods and every time brings back a Sasquatch print, that's virtually impossible. I have four total over 5 years, and that's a feat. That's like a lot. So when you got guys that have 20 of them, unless it's a trackway or something like that, where they can pull multiples, half the time, you may go out and see, Bigfoot footprints on a number of occasions, but they may not be good enough to cast. The substrate is very hard. They may be in a bad location, so it's virtually impossible to get them every time. So I just forewarn you to watch out for these things, um, and kind of just be more aware. Stop criticizing and start taking it in. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to show you this quick clip it that I have posted from one of our outings. You can rewind that and check it too. You can watch this all on my YouTube channel, but I figured I'd share it. And if you pay attention, his arm comes out a couple times. See that arm extending? Watch. There's an arm. He's picking something. Another arm. He's picking something. And then you see him dropping it. There he is. Boom. Rewind it if you need. So virtually what you seen was a real Sasquatch. I was setting up a trail cam. I set my camera down, let it face out in front of me. I walked back to the tree, set up the game cam, seen one off to my right while I was doing that. Was very upset because I didn't get it on film. As I walked back toward the camera, unknown to me, there was more out in front of me. Um, Everything you see is real and true. You can go through a lot of my videos here. You can see as we progressed and learned more things over time. Um, if you use it as it's more like a puzzle piece. You take a little bit of everything. Sorry about the pop-ups, um, but you know, months and months and months of research and years, and so like I said, just start taking everything in. Um, Pay attention to what's going on around you. If you want to get together and you want to do an outing in the spring or summer, let me know. I'm willing to go with a couple people. Um, Share with what I've learned. We can have some good discussions, even if we just meet up and talk. I mean, why not? You know, it can't hurt. Like I said, everybody um, needs to start sharing. We all need to start paying attention to kind of what's going on in nature. You know, I don't like to give a lot of theories on the videos. You can go back through and pay attention to some of my early theories. But now I have to start researching into the paranormal a lot more. But for all the people that are out there in the paranormal, don't be scared to reach into the flesh and blood section, because I hate calling it that. This is all ridiculous to call it all this stuff. We've done this. We've created this. The only way we can uncreate it is to fix it ourselves. So hopefully that can happen. Uh, but you need tidbits from everywhere to start putting the puzzle together. Everybody says it's this, and I believe they're that. Well, that's your belief. You can believe you can believe it's the Nephilim. You could believe it's this, or you could believe it's from the Bible, or Cain and Abel. There's so many stories out there you don't know. People call them forest dwellers. A lot of people want to get to know them. They don't want to prove it. Um, but either way, we all need to start focusing on everybody's research that we can, so we get a better handle. So you're not just out there saying, "Oh, that's fake," or "that's garbage," or "that's this," or "that's that," because that's your belief. If you're interested in researching, let me know. If you're in my location, if you're near me, if you have things going on in your property, feel free to contact me on Facebook, or down below in the video. You can go ahead and say, hey, I want to talk to you about some things, and I try to get back to everybody as best as I can. Um, share your research with me too. I do this so I can get more input, so I can get more puzzle pieces. Uh, but for now, I hope you liked the video. Signing out. Later, guys.